Imagine waiting 1,095 days for someone to just notice you. 3 years of sitting behind a chain link fence, watching the whole world walk right by. In this explainer, we're diving into the deeply emotional, true story of a lonely golden retriever and the single, completely unexpected moment that altered his destiny forever. This isn't just a story about a dog, right? It's a profound look into connection, hope, and the incredible weight of a second chance. To put that into perspective, 1,095 days is an agonizingly long time in an animal shelter. For over 3 years, this incredibly soulful dog just watched families searching for a new best friend, only to walk right past his kennel without a second glance. In that deafening, high-stress environment, time kind of warps. A day feels like a week, a month feels like a year. He was waiting in the shadows for connection that honestly seemed like it was never, ever going to arrive. This brings us to a harsh, nationwide reality: the puppy preference. Now, we all know the drill here. Younger puppies are scooped up almost instantly, right? People view them as these energetic, adorable blank slates that they can mold from scratch. But on the flip side, older, senior dogs are tragically left behind. Adopters get worried about hidden health issues or a shorter lifespan, completely missing the fact that these older dogs are often calmer, already trained, and have this just massive capacity for gratitude. Yet, the puppy preference wins out, leaving the seniors to wait. Because of this overwhelming preference, our golden retriever basically became invisible. He wasn't loud, he wasn't a tiny, bouncing puppy aggressively pressing against the fence. Surrounded by this sensory overload of constant barking, the smell of bleach, and echoing concrete halls, he simply learned to make himself small, retreating to the absolute back of his kennel as the days just bled into years. And this harsh reality begs a really heartbreaking question, one we all need to pause and think about. Why do we so often overlook the very dogs who are most desperate for our connection? These are animals whose personalities are fully formed, who have weathered real storms, and who literally just want a soft place to rest their heads. We get so drawn to the novelty of something new that we totally miss the profound beauty of the resilient. But then an unexpected visitor changes everything. It was a totally ordinary afternoon when a retired school teacher walked into the shelter. And what's fascinating here is that she actually had absolutely zero concrete plans to adopt a dog that day. No leash, no collar in hand. She just felt this unexplainable pull to walk through the kennels, representing the everyday person just wandering the aisles, looking at the faces behind the gates. Let's break down how this happened, because the timeline is almost cinematic. At 2 p.m., she walks into the facility. For 15 minutes, she strolls past dozens of barking, jumping dogs. Then, at exactly 2:15 p.m., she stops at his kennel. He wasn't jumping, he wasn't barking, he was just looking up at her with these soft, tired amber eyes. And at 2:16 p.m., the entire trajectory of their lives changed. This brings us to the sheer power of a paw. Like I said, he didn't bark or launch himself at the fence. Instead, he quietly and deliberately approached the door, lifted his front leg, and placed his paw gently right onto her hand. Now, if you look at dog behavior, pawing isn't just some random movement, especially not from a shut-down shelter dog. It is a profound sign of seeking a genuine bond. It indicates ultimate trust. After 1,095 days of being invisible, he was basically saying, "I'm choosing you. Please see me." The shelter workers nearby were absolutely stunned. One volunteer actually gasped and said out loud, "He's never done that with anyone." And man, that single sentence instantly shifted the emotional weight of the entire room. In 3 whole years, through hundreds of visitors, he had never once reached out. He'd literally been preserving his spirit, waiting just for her. So, faced with this incredibly rare and deliberate choice by this golden retriever, there was really only one question left in the air. Could she possibly turn around, walk out those double doors, and leave without him? When a creature that has been completely ignored by the world for 3 years physically reaches out and chooses you, how do you walk away? Well, the answer, of course, is you don't. And so begins a beautiful life transformed. She decided right then and there to take him home. It started with that triumphant walk out the shelter doors, his paws finally touching real grass instead of concrete. Then came the discovery of a quiet suburban home. We're talking soft rugs, warm sunlight streaming through the windows, and absolutely zero cages. The beautiful, gradual process of learning to trust again and of truly becoming family had begun. Visually, the transformation was just staggering. For the first time, he had his very own quiet American backyard to explore. Just imagine the sheer joy of smelling fresh soil and feeling the breeze after 3 years on sterile concrete. That yard became his sanctuary. It was a safe, enclosed space where all the intense anxiety of his past could just slowly melt away into the earth. But perhaps the most incredible part? For the first time in nearly 3 years, he could experience a deep, peaceful sleep. Think about shelter life for a second. The lights are bright, noises are sudden and sharp, dogs are constantly on edge. But here, curled up on a soft bed in a quiet room, his nervous system could finally regulate. He didn't have to sleep with one eye open anymore. He could just let go. And as that trust really solidified, something magical returned. His tail, which had been tucked and totally still for so agonizingly long, finally began to wag again. First, it was just a slow thump against the floor when she'd walk into the room, but soon it became this full, joyous wag. He fully embraced his secure new place in the family. That invisible dog was finally vibrant, alive, and fiercely loved. It all comes down to this one simple truth: never give up. Because every single dog, no matter their age, their background, or how long they've waited in the shadows, deserves one person who will never give up on them. It took 1,095 days for his person to walk through those doors, but a single moment, just a simple reach of a paw, changed 2 lives forever. So the next time you think about bringing a pet into your life, are you looking for a blank slate? Or are you willing to be the absolute miracle for the one who's been waiting?